sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric Morgard over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa Williams over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly Young. Hey, you guys. Well, Vanessa in particular, you know what I found out?
What?
Harvey Weinstein has gangrene on his dick.
Oh, wait, what? How'd you find this out? First of all, I'm excited. Second
Taste?
of all, how did you figure this out?
God damn you.
Scent.
I just know how upset you were when you found out that he would fool around with other people's edits on their film.
I was pretty mad about it.
Eric, I know you were bothered by other things.
Yeah.
But,
You know,
but
we all
Vanessa,
have priorities.
I felt
Plants and
Vanessa would
hotels.
feel better about this. That
Oh,
in his
good Lord.
defense, that plant
He's gonna have to go
was
to prison.
smoking hot.
He's going to have to go to prison with gangrene on his nether regions.
Right.
Wow.
Weinstein on his whiner.
Oh. Wow.
I have to throw out we got a little listener message from Mitch Keith, who let me know that he watched Neon Joe Werewolf. No. And he felt stupider for watching it, which I thought was hurtful to follow that with. But I said that season 2 was better, and he said he'd get right on it. So, Mitch, if you watched season 2, let us know what you thought.
I watched one episode. I might go back for more. We'll see how it goes. Although the other one you mentioned, the Aliens, the offshoot of the... I almost said Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
but,
it's
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
That one's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep meaning to get to it, and every time I'm just not enough in the mood to be wowed,
Oh, I was going to say, not enough in what mood would you have to be
to
in?
care.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, my.
Well, I'm excited about it. It's just that I just want to watch something I don't care about because my levels of energy are just so low.
Wow.
So you can sit in the background and just go,
Yep. So I've been watching The Expanse season 4, and I cannot tell you what's happening in it at all.
Season 4. I had no idea it was.
Yeah.
Who picked that up? I know it was...
It's on
Amazon or
Amazon.
something.
Yeah, and I really liked 1 through 3, but I just have not been able to pay any attention. So I can't tell you what's happening. I know some random bits when I looked hard at the screen and went, oh, okay, I think I know what's happening, and then didn't.
Does that still have Thomas Jane in it?
Who's Thomas Jane?
Wasn't he in the first season?
I don't remember. I only watched like 3 episodes.
Me too.
What kind of character did he play?
I don't remember. He's a handsome kind of guy who did not look handsome in this series.
I wonder if he was. I wonder if he played the detective.
The Mist,
Yeah, he's the dad in The Mist, and he was.
Punisher, and...
I'm sure he probably is.
You're sure he probably is?
There are only so many people in the first few episodes, and they do seem to consistently be in the rest. So, if anyone was in the first episode, they're probably still in it.
All right then.
Okay. Not a lot of deaths on the show.
No, not really. At least none that stick. Oh, spoilers. 4 years worth of content. Got to dig that one up.
Wow. Hey, Vanessa, I wanted to let you know what I watched.
What did you watch?
I watched The Clove Hitch Killer.
Oh my gosh, did you? What did you think?
I fucking loved it. That was your pick for the Father's Day episode.
Correct.
And it sounded so interesting. I popped it on, and I thought it was great.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you liked it. Like,
Yes.
I really enjoyed it, and it was such a surprise for me. So I'm so thrilled that you didn't hate it.
No, good call on that. Available on Hulu.
Yes. And I think I've
Nice.
seen it a few more places pop up. It might be on Amazon as well.
Okay.
Let's see. Had some weird shit this weekend. You know, Severin does I don't know if you realize they do like a Christmas in July sale, except it's in June.
I did know that.
And so that was this last weekend.
Oh.
And they had some...
Way to share information.
I don't generally expect most people to want off what's out of Severin.
Oh.
As a general rule, I knew I didn't need to call Kelly and go, "Hey, there's new Fulci movies coming out on Blu-ray."
I would care.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
would want a
noted for
Fulci
future
movie.
reference.
Thank you.
But they went live at midnight and got promptly hit by, what's it, DDR or whatever, that where people call up and just hit the site till it goes down.
Oh.
At first, they thought they just got too many people trying to buy, but it took all through so that happened midnight, which is nice. It was Eastern time midnight, so it was only 9 o'clock for me. From then until Sunday, they weren't able to get it back up again.
Oh my gosh.
The fun part for me, having been in retail and customer service for a long time, is to read the whiny fanboy bitches on their Facebook about, I can't believe this unprecedented. Like, I'm sure, even implying to the point, like, I think they're doing this on purpose just to drive up people's interest. Like,
geez.
yeah, I'm sure that's what they want to do.
Yeah, they definitely want to turn away everybody immediately from the one sale they can definitely guarantee a year. Yup. I'm sure.
When this happens, people are doing this on purpose to what end?
To just bring down their site, right?
Yeah, something weird happened to, who was the other one? Vinegar Syndrome had something sort of similar happen to their website, I guess, earlier this year.
So these are just people who are fucking with them? Is that what you're saying?
You can be done almost by one person.
Oh.
It can just be one person with this machine. They set it up and it goes and it sends like 1,000 hits a second or something to somebody's site until it goes down. Yeah. I was like, wow, what a dick.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's a super dick move because it really is kind of easy-ish to do. And it's just like, oh, you're just a jerk. You're going to take down like a DVD website.
That's right.
What did they do to you? Like, that's what I want to know. I want to know the details.
Right.
I checked out something I've been meaning to see for a little bit. You guys might have already seen it on Shudder. Blood Machines.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple episodes back.
Yeah.
What did you think?
If you just take the bits that are a music video, it's great. If you have any of the plot, it's so bad. And the one guy, the main actor dude, is horrible.
You could tell that the plot was bad because I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
that's why the plot was bad.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because I was trying to piece it together and I was like, none of this makes any sense. Clearly, this is bad writing. And I was not wrong. There's like interesting moments, but those moments could be summed up in the music video.
A lot of naked women.
The women were hot. That was fine. I don't mind naked women if you have like a cool reason for it. And if you have a cool music video with like weird outer space stuff and you happen to have naked women in it, I almost feel like that's better than trying to like wedge a plot in there to have an excuse to make a woman naked.
I would have liked to see those naked women surfing through outer space on a flying V guitar.
They do float on, don't they float on a flying large woman?
Oh, well, spoiler. It's like the very end.
But it doesn't mean anything.
I think it actually leads somewhere.
A guitar would have been great. I mean, like, other than their boss being like, you kids, you got lost in the atmosphere. I'm so angry. Just sit there in a ship looking at it. I don't know.
I'm just saying, if you're going to have that awesome music going on, you could at least have the chicks writing on guitars through space.
I would have been fine with that. I'm not saying guitars would have been bad. I'm just saying what they did was bad.
Blood Machine Season 2, you can have that for free.
Run with it.
All I got now is, you mentioned nudity in music video, so now I've got Helix. Give me
Rock
it all.
You.
The first video I remember seeing, like, I rented this video from the whatever it was in Twin Falls, because it wasn't a Blockbuster, called Hot Rock or something like that. Mm-hmm. And most of the videos are standard music videos, just metal, and then that comes on, it's like, those women aren't wearing clothes.
Mom.
And there are a lot of them.
Wow. Hey, man, the body is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Well, Eric knows this, and everybody on my Facebook knows this, but I started watching Hannibal, and I had not watched this series when it was on television.
I have not seen it.
Eric's gonna poo-poo me because he never watched this show, and so it can't possibly be good. But I think it's the finest television show ever made.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
See, the only reason I poo-poo that is I know the spaces, the empty things of the shows you have not watched. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now I've watched one episode. I have no problem believing it. This could become one of the great TV shows of all time. But the gaps in your, like, The Wire and Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and all the
I
huge
watched
ones that you haven't
episodes
watched.
of all those shows and didn't continue on. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
They were not for me.
It didn't light your fire.
And all of them should have been. For whatever reason, they did not catch hold. This one got its hooks in me early, and it's just so fucking gorgeous. And I'm not going to gush about a series that's been off the air for 5 years, but
Like I probably just did with The Expanse. Hey, it's not like anything new is coming out. It's fine.
right.
Point.
And the only reason I'm watching this is because all 3 seasons are available on Netflix now as we speak.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, maybe I will check it out because I have run out of things to have on in the background.
It is
That's
extremely
gonna
gory.
be, I've watched one episode. I'm going to say as a background show, it's going to be a tough watch. You're not going
Yeah.
to know what's going on.
Oh, okay. I really
Even
got
one
to pay
episode
attention.
in, I'm going, this is a watch show.
Yeah.
Well, if any of our fans have recommendations of shows to have on in the background, please send it in.
Cooking shows?
Anything, really. I mean, I've got Queer Eye. I've gone through all of that
Oh,
in the
there you go.
background.
Hannibal is a bit of a cooking show.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Good point.
I would
Oh,
suggest to you, Vanessa, Neon Joe, Werewolf.
Yeah, put it in the background.
And just don't
I
worry
did
about it.
love the nails on the chalkboard in the can. That was a great.
It's so
little bit.
stupid, but let me tell you this. It is stupid, but the second season is even stupider.
You're not selling me on this. What is this on again?
Hulu.
Yeah,
On
Hulu.
Hulu. Okay.
But it was a Adult Swim show.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's live action, which I
Yes.
was not expecting.
Oh, I didn't think that. I didn't expect that. Okay.
I have a challenge movie.
What?
We got a 5-star challenge movie from Luella Cat 666.
We're going to have to put together like a 5-star challenge sound or song.
Oh, good idea.
Every time we get one of these.
Maybe not that.
Maybe not that. Maybe we should come up with a cool song that isn't that.
Yeah, the request was, Eric, please watch Death Metal Zombie. Please. We found it for free on Amazon. We're already confused. I'm watching as I'm writing this. It looks like a $20 movie. Please review. Like, $20 is probably accurate.
You mean for the budget? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes, it is. As I said, it's Death Metal Zombie. Came out in 1995. It is super low budget. This is a bunch of friends just screwing around, having fun. But the director, Todd Jason Cook, has 18 films to his credit. The last one coming out in 2018, I believe.
And you knew all of them?
No, I didn't know any of them. Although I did like, he did have one called Meatball Massacre and Reefer Lake. I'm like, okay, these are interesting titles.
Wow. So he's like prolific with no money.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Way to do your craft,
You know,
sir.
like Joe Sherlock, our buddy down there, is a master of making movies with very little to no money.
Right.
You got to love that. Let's see here. The story is totally doesn't matter.
Okay.
Some metal fan guy enters a contest to win his favorite band's song cassette early that has one bonus song called Zombified. Guess what happens when he plays the bonus song?
Do
Does he
zombies
get?
rise?
Oh, I was going to ask that.
I'm sorry. I stepped right up on your toes. Great minds think alike.
The zombie makeup basically consists of what looks like heavy eyeshadow put underneath the eyes.
Oh, those are the best kind of weird zombies.
Yes. And for some reason, there's a serial killer or something wandering around wearing a Nixon mask.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know why.
Isn't there like a film where a
Well,
bunch
there's
of
the...
natural born killers?
Dead presidents.
Oh, there we go. Dead
Oh,
presidents.
I was thinking of the surfing movie.
Oh, yeah.
Keanu Reeves.
Point Break.
Point Break.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See?
I am an FBI agent.
I'll just wait for him to come back.
I'm so glad
He's
his
not
career.
coming back.
I'm so glad his career survived that role because that was when we didn't know the greatness of Keanu.
Oh, it's such a fun movie. It's
It
not
is a
good, but it's so much
It's
fun.
so bad, but it's like, and he really does ruin a lot of it. But
So the guy's room, I don't know if it's the guy who shot it or the actor, you would like, it's filled with Kiss posters.
Ooh.
Kiss and a couple Iron Maiden, but I mean, he even had a poster of just Eric Carr and a poster of just Vinnie Vincent.
Wow.
Like, whoa, a Kiss fan. Hot in the Shade T-shirt at one point.
Oh, of course. Yeah, this is 95. So.
Let's see. And the first 3 songs were actually decent, low-rent kind of metal songs. They were not death metal by any means yet. Then they get to a live show. It's like, oh, there's the more of the death metal sound I was expecting. Let's see. If you love absolutely no-budget zombie movies, honestly, the first 20 or 30 minutes, I'm going, this might be one of those. I kind of love it, even though it's horrible films.
So bad it's good.
Yeah, but then it kind of dragged me a little. It's just...
Oh, shoot. It's just bad.
Yeah, but the effort was good.
How was the acting?
It was terrible.
Okay. Never mind.
Oh,
so
no.
bad.
I'm not sure I can. So were you able to suss out the plot for...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't ever figure out what Nixon was for.
Okay.
Except maybe after they...
It's got to be an homage.
Spoiler alert. They figure out the way to get rid of the zombies is you play the song backwards.
Oh, my gosh. That is the dumbest stuff.
And then Nixon comes in at the end and plays the song again before the credits or after the credits or something.
Great.
I did watch the
Zombie
whole thing.
Nixon or the guy wearing a mask Nixon? I think I'm lost.
The guy wearing a mask.
Okay, got it.
Mojo Nixon.
It actually has some
Moby
interesting
Nixon?
background stuff. Yes, I found some background information on
Wow.
this.
Wow.
It took 9 months to shoot,
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
largely because of the, and this was in quotes, floods of 94. Which apparently was a downpour of rain that lasted nearly 4 months,
Oh.
delaying the shoot substantially. And you could kind of see some scenes where it's like, it looks very rainy there. There's a great fight where it's a whole bunch of, I don't know what they're supposed to be, and then they come and attack the metal guys, and it's like 8-3, and of course the 3 metal guys kick the crap out of them with sound effects that would embarrass 70s action movies. Boom! It's like, so.
Just from like some download, soundeffects.org.
And there's a battle with knives that I'm pretty sure the sound effects of the knife going to the person was the editor, the director going.
Oh, well, I guess Foley. Way to reach out.
That's right.
Way to try something.
The zombies might have psychic powers. I'm not sure.
Huh.
But
It's like Star Wars all over again.
you get a wonderful moment of a time capsule where Nixon's uploading the song at the end. That he doesn't actually play it. He uploads it. And it shows the upload bar.
Oh.
2 hours, 12 minutes later.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was going to pause at 99 and just stay there.
Maybe he's using a hotspot.
But there's actually a 2-hour documentary that they made making this film
Oh
called
my God.
The Making of Death Metal Zombies.
That's so self-indulgent.
Includes interviews with actors, deleted scenes, rap party footage,
Oh my God.
footage of the director on the toilet bowl, and exhaustive coverage of the movie.
No, I don't need any of that. Did it add? Did you watch it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's good.
You didn't want to see what those deleted scenes might have been?
I'm good.
Okay.
So I will say, of all the ones that have been the challenged, as far as quality of film, this is definitely the new bottom of the barrel.
Wow.
Congratulations.
We need to make an actual list from best to worst of the ones that have been recommended to us.
Most of them have been pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I
most
mean.
ones
Like a
have been
lot
pretty
of them
good.
have been top tier from the sounds of it.
But this was more what I was expecting would be coming our way when we started the.
Yeah,
The
more
five-star
what I was
challenge.
hoping would be coming our way when you
Yeah.
made up this
Torture
bizarre thing.
Eric.
That's what I was expecting. Well done, Luella Cat 666. You pulled it off. And if you did have any theories that worked out and you think you understood the movie by the end, of saying you were confused, feel free to let me know. I have no clue what was going on.
Nice. Anything else to talk about?
No, not for me. I just had a lot of I watched America's Got Talent with my mom because it was on.
You could have stopped with no, Vanessa.
It is highly embarrassing. I will say that. Saying that out loud is highly embarrassing.
With my mom. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she
My
was
mom
totally-
was, yeah, that's why I watched
She
that.
was. She watches that and CNN and nothing else. So
This.
I have one little thing to mention, and Eric, you will be intrigued with this.
Yes.
I was listening to an interview fairly recent with Tom Holland, director of Fright Night, and
not the kid.
no, not the actor Tom Holland, but
Yeah.
the
Child's Play.
Child's Play. Yeah, and there was an actor Tom Holland before the director Tom Holland also,
Oh.
and Tom Holland, the director, was an actor who used a different name as an actor because of the Tom Holland actor at that time.
Yeah.
You know, I feel
SAG
like,
rules.
yeah, it didn't. How is our Tom Holland allowed to be Tom Holland with SAG rules?
But the other Tom Holland is probably long gone.
Yes.
There's like an expiration date on
There
the
are
name.
only so many names in the world, Vanessa.
I don't know.
I mean, there are
one of
only
those-
so many names in the world, not that Vanessa Williams.
Oh, I forgot. You're right. I blocked it out.
Kind of walked right into that
I
one there.
did. I so did. Oh.
Anyway, Eric, in this interview with Tom Holland, you might recall last time I watched Fright Night, I was like, is that Stuart Stern as the cook in that one scene? Remember when I said that?
Yes.
And it was Stuart Stern, but uncredited, but it was clearly Stuart Stern. Vanessa Stewart was one of our film teachers in film school. He also wrote Rebel Without a Cause and
SIF Theater in the office, the small SIF Theater there is named after him. It's the Stuart Stern Theater.
Oh, cool.
So-
One of the coolest people you'll ever
Oh.
meet, man. He was so great.
He was lovely. Rest in peace. In this interview, they start talking about how important story is to him, and he said, "Well, my good friend Stuart Stern helped me with the script a little bit." And I was like, "Wait a second, this now explains everything," because I could never figure out why Stuart Stern was in a cameo, uncredited cameo in the movie Fright Night, and it's because he and Tom Holland were buddies, and he helped Tom with parts of the script.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And that could also explain why Fright Night is one of the better written Tom Holland films.
Right. Well, I think Child's Play is pretty solid.
Child's Play is pretty good. I have to confess though, I haven't actually seen the original Fright Night. I've just seen the remake.
I like the remake.
Yeah, remake's
but,
good, but
But you got to see the original.
It's on my list. I'm excited for Halloween each year because all the stuff I've been putting off, I just get forced into. I'm like, yes, I need another film.
31 days or 31 nights of horror, whatever it is.
yeah. There's also a Seattle group that does 100 days of horror.
Oh my gosh.
It's starting sometime.
I think my
Next
friends
month, I
would
believe.
disown me if I was like, sorry guys, gonna watch another horror film. Month 3, don't mind me. I think they'd be over it.
That's funny because none of our friends have that problem at all.
Yeah, no.
You have less diverse friendships, but probably more solid foundations.
Wow.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
Well, with that lovely thought, how about we take a little break? We will come back with our topic this week, which is the Scream Factory catalog.
Here come the new demons. Shooting Iron, Transylvanian Express, Black Knight. Here come the screaming demons, tearing up the road. Shooting Iron, a gleaming demon, Transylvanian Express, the Bat, Black Knight, shine, quick and beautiful. Screaming demons, tearing up the road. Move with the screaming demons. Shooting Iron, Transylvanian Express, Black Knight, sold separately.
And we are back. Eric, this was your topic.
Yes.
You chose this one.
Yes, another one of the... I don't know about this from Kelly, and by the time he's done, this is fucking great.
Well, the only I don't know about it was, how do I choose?
This is true. Yeah, that's true.
There were so many. I mean, I love Shout and Scream Factory titles. It is just unreal what a good catalog they have.
Yeah.
I think in my wish list I have 40 titles waiting for it to be under $35.
Yep, I can see that. Yeah, so looked through a lot. Thought, oh man, that's great. That's great. I was like, well, let's narrow it down to the ones I own. What the hell? So I went with I ended up going with, this is my most recent acquisition. So screw it. I'm going with this, which was Wes Craven's Serpent and the Rainbow.
From Wes Craven, director of A Nightmare on Elm Street, comes a story of the forbidden world between life and death.
There's a door to the mystical. And you just walk through it.
Somebody brought him back from the grave. And I want to know how they did it.
Death is not the end. I'll take your soul. You think you can take these people's secrets and just walk away?
In the shadows of the imagination lies the ultimate nightmare.
Don't let them bury me. I'm not dead.
The Serpent and the Rainbow.
Wow.
From 1988.
Nice.
It has a Rotten Tomatoes of, almost exactly where I'd expect. 65 from critics, 56 from the audience.
Okay.
Sounds about right. It is available to rent almost anywhere, if you don't want to. It's not an expensive screen. I think it was like a $20 Screen Factory disc, so it wasn't too expensive. It had a $7 million budget, which I was surprised seemed a little low for Wes at that time, but still, he used it well. Made $19 million at the box office, though, so it at least made a profit.
Nice.
That's bigger than I thought. I thought this one had been like a massive flop for him, but
I forgot that this was Wes Craven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of one of his forgotten films. A lot of people jump to People Under the Stairs, which I personally think is a much weaker film than this. I tried to watch that about 6 months ago for something. I don't remember what our subject was, but I'm like, I ended up watching the whole thing, but halfway through I'm going, yeah, this is not going to work. And I went and found something else and came back and finished watching it later.
Oh, that's really interesting. I hadn't seen it until last year, and I was like, oh my God, this film is great. But I think my expectations were lower.
Yeah, mine had been like, oh man, this is going to be like going back and rediscovering some lost thing because I didn't like it when it first came out. Realizing I was an idiot going, okay, I wasn't too far off the path. But anyways, so this was inspired by a book by Wade Davis, whose other films are Peyote to LSD, A Psychedelic Journey, or Odyssey. So you can tell by that title what his main reason for doing this movie was as we get deeper into it.
What year did this come out again?
88.
Oh, okay. I would have thought the 70s from the subject matter, but that's fine. Go on.
And Richard Maxwell, and Adam Rodman, none of which have any other real credits of note. Stars in his first starring role ever, Bill Pullman.
Yay.
Yay!
Star of Independence Day, Casper, and Newsies.
God, I love him so much. I had such a crush on him as a kid. Go on.
Oh yes, he's great.
He's man.
I love his little Independence Day speech.
I could just listen to him make speeches all day long. Just come hang out with me and make speeches. I'll be there.
That's right. Kathy Titan of Two Graves and Chick Lit. I don't know. I'm assuming that's female writing and not the gum.
Oh, I totally thought the gum. And then I was like, that's dumb. It's probably like some other thing.
Zach's Milwaukee? Yeah. From Waterworld, Outbreak, Richard Stanley's Dust Devil, and Roar.
Oh my God.
This woman's been in some amazing films.
Oh my God.
And the final one, Paul Winfield from Terminator, Cliffhanger, Star Trek II.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the Scream Factory actually starts this off with a dedication to in memory of Wes Craven.
Nice.
So this was released after his death. The film is loosely inspired by a true story. The book that Richard Maxwell went down to Haiti and studied zombification and the medication that, tried to find the medication that created this zombie thing so he could take it back and study it.
And we're talking real zombies, not the undead.
Yeah, voodoo style concept of it. A disclaimer at the end says that Davis came back with rare powders that are being subject to intense study in the United States and Switzerland, and that, apart from these facts, all other person and incidences in their film are fictitious. So basically, the only true story is that he did go to Haiti and he did come back with some powder.
Right.
The rest is all made up. The film starts a series of scenes of a guy who they think is dead. It's an uncomfortable, good burial, disturbing burial scene where he gets dead and you can see like a tear coming down his face, and he appears again like 2 weeks later or something. So that's what sends him down. That's how he gets medicine, or got the money to go down and try to find this. Of course, they wanted his medicine for putting people under for operations and such as their end goal. He heads down there, meets a doctor, and tries to learn about voodoo. The doctor is working in a asylum kind of place where some people are supposedly recovering from being zombies, or they're trying to figure out how to bring them back from whatever this drug did to them. And he starts searching for the guy. He finds a shaman that says he can give the powder he wants. He gives him something and sends him on a scary-ass dream. Most of the scary parts of this film are in dreams or in hallucinations.
Oh, interesting.
The real world is kind of hard to tell at times. Some of the stuff that goes on is like, is that really happening to Bill, or is it just in their minds? There's a strange scene in the middle of the movie that there's a sex scene between him and the doctor. I'm like, why is this scene in here? Nothing leads up to it, and nothing leads after it. It's like, which is odd because Wes Craven's not exactly heavy in sex scenes in most of his films. I was like, was this a studio thing?
Sounds like studio intervention to me.
Maybe he was
Yeah.
dabbling. He was like, you know what? This is the film. This is the one where I'd give it a go.
That's right.
And then he realized his mistake.
Yeah. It's not. He doesn't direct those scenes very well.
Oh, dear.
Let's see. Oh, one of the better creepy scenes is when Pullman gets buried alive in a dream. You can tell it's a dream by the way it's shot, but it's still unnerving and weird. The motivations of the lead villain through most of the film are very vague. And at the end, they solve all that problem with one line. They basically say, oh, he's afraid of you taking his drugs away and him losing power. I'm like, yeah, you could have said that. That's kind of what I thought was going on. But then at the same time, he also seemed like he just wanted to fuck with Bill Pullman. And there's, the wonderful torture scene. Gets tied up in the chair naked. And he has the big giant nail and a hammer. And the guy's like, I just want to hear you scream. Thunk. Right between the legs.
Ow.
And of course, later on in the narration, they have to clarify, I'm fine. I am still complete. It went through my scrotum. Like,
Oh,
Just through my scrotum.
nothing
Yeah,
about
that's
this sounds pleasant.
You got balls of steel.
My balls are so good that even getting split is fine.
Nail proof.
now I have 3.
The leather sack. Oh, God.
He gets kicked out of the country, gets a flight out on Pan Am. And a large portion of the movie is explained in almost a throwaway line by the good voodoo doctor who is trying to protect him. It's like, most of the battles in here will be fought in your mind. And the ending is just crazy, over-the-top weird and fun, and plays strongly into the idea of the battle going on more in the mind than in the real world. I still enjoyed it. I hadn't watched this movie in a very, very long time. And it's still pretty good. It does, have that one scene, which is a nice early example of torture porn.
Right.
If a short one. The voiceover is weird in the whole film. I'm not sure if it's really necessary. It almost struck me as the Blade Runner voiceover, where it's like, is Bill really giving it his all for this? Because he's good in the film.
Yeah.
You can see why this was not his last leading role, because he is very good. But the voiceover just at time is awkward and strange.
I feel like voiceover is such a, you have to be really careful with that as a tool.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get wrong.
There are rumors out there. There's back and forth. There are some places that or some things online that say the ingredients as they presented in the movie are accurate to what that powder that is used, and then there are other ones that say no, that's not it at all. It's kind of like, I don't know which one's right. The scene early, they have a scene early in the film, just before they make love, where it's this huge procession of people going to a large religious experience. Turned out was set up by the film, but they got 6,000 extras.
Oh my God.
Like just people who showed up because they thought it was real, or they...
They pulled in 3,000 people to be in the movie, and 6,000 ended up showing up.
Wow.
And they did a long procession of like, you know the scene in Conan where they're walking with the candles?
Yes.
And the torches, similar to that. It's a neat scene.
Feed that many people. Lunch that day.
That's a lot of pizza.
This is so much pizza.
So yeah, they had a little bonus there of shooting in Haiti, but then things got bad. Local government started to fall apart while they were there. Police showed up and said, "We can no longer guarantee your safety. You can stay if you want to."
Wow.
We'll leave. Let's see. The Dominican Republic is where they ended up for the remainder of the shoot. And before they started shooting in Haiti, the whole crew had to be blessed.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
They had to go to a ceremony, and the entire crew was blessed for that.
And that's why the film finished.
Yeah, there you go. It was faulty blessing. They had to leave the country, but
But they still finished.
they originally tried to get Peter Weir to direct it,
Interesting.
that's who the writer of the book wanted. And it's like, well, that would have been very different. And the actor they offered it to but turned it down because of his Christian beliefs. Everybody's favorite sexist, racist asshole, Mel Gibson,
Oh.
Oh. Huh.
the good Christian that he is.
Oh, sure. Even then.
The original cut was 3 hours long. But
Whoa.
Wes Craven said, no. We've overdone it here and cut it down to 98 minutes.
Oh,
nice.
bless him.
Yes.
That is good. Directors are never like that.
No kidding. I was like, all right. You can see Bill Pullman's new wife in there when they're doing a voodoo ceremony, and she interacts with some guy, I think, who's eating hot embers.
Oh, all right.
Ooh.
Still has that new wife smell.
That's right. And that scene there's that early on scene with where they're watching a ceremony that's supposed to be voodoo, and apparently it actually was. The people that took part in it were voodoo practitioners. The eating glass scene was done for real. The guy with the embers was done for real, and a lot of the dancing and stuff was correct to voodoo traditions.
Wow.
Even though the original director or author kind of felt the film failed to really portray what the protectors were about over the length of the film, that scene was done well. Bill Pullman had a interesting saying about it. I guess he was ahead of his time in the thoughts on filmmaking. He's like, well, the interesting part of this film, it's made by a bunch of white guys that wanted to show we don't know that this world very well. Maybe we should stay away and people be with their world.
Oh.
like, whoa, okay.
Wow.
It may not hit the resurgence of People in the Stairs and some of those had, precisely for what Bill said there. It may have a tough time with some modern audiences. But it doesn't feel particularly disrespectful to me. But I don't know. I don't practice voodoo, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah, I feel like there was this period in the 90s where like voodoo was really fun to have in films. Like the remake of Cat People. Is that? Yeah. It's like a bunch of
That had voodoo in it?
Lots, yeah. She like goes into like the house she's staying in, like there's a voodoo mistress there, and like she's trying to control her, turning into
Wow,
Katniss.
I've forgotten all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's credited with, not so much in the U.S., but around the world, kicking off a lot of voodoo films and voodoo stuff and interest, but it didn't really do that in the U.S. Because, George Romero's voodoo or zombies had pretty much claimed that mantle.
Right.
So that was mine.
Awesome.
Right. Vanessa, why don't you do that voodoo you do so well?
You mean talk about My Bloody Valentine?
It's a bad time, this time of year. How many times is he gonna tell this story?
Oh, let him tell it. I love fairy tales.
This ain't no fairy tale, little girl. If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool!
The first Valentine's dance in 20 years has to be something special.
Look, Landers, you gotta get a lot of exercise if you're gonna grapple with Gretchen.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got a Valentine for her that she's never gonna forget. Right to the heart, huh?
In this town on Valentine's Day, everybody loses their heart.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you.
It can't be happening again.
No!
It can't be happening again.
What's going on over in Valentine Bluffs? It looks like Harry Warden's back in town.
It happened once. It happened twice. Cancel the dance or it'll happen thrice.
In the town of Valentine Bluffs, there are many ways to die. Take your pick. My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, all right. That's fine too.
Canadian voodoo.
The Canadian. Actually, it has its own genre, and I'm sure you guys know this. Canucksploitation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
I love that. I just love that exists. Canucksploitation, of which you guys might also know. Anything Cronenberg falls in there. Black Christmas falls in there. Prom Night falls in there. Pretty much.
Ginger Snaps?
I don't know. I didn't write that down, but probably. Just because I don't have it on my little piece of paper doesn't mean it's not true. This movie came out in 1981. I was really excited actually to pick this one because I just gotten like the special edition Scream Factory. It came with a poster that I don't particularly like that much, but all the special features and the version that I ended up watching is the director's cut. So there are two cuts of this film. One where they take out pretty much all the kills, and the director's cut where they actually went and found all this footage of like these crazy kills and put them back in. And that's pretty much the only difference. But I will say, I think it actually makes a huge difference for how this film comes across because it's pretty brave in a lot of ways in those scenes. But anyways, we'll get there. So this is not a well-loved film. It's 57% critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 52% audience.
You know what, though? Let's break this down.
Sure.
If you said, I asked 10 people what they thought of it, and 5 people said they liked it, you'd be like, that's not so bad.
That's true. You know what?
That's what's going on.
Yeah, if 1 out of 2 of my friends said they liked it, I was like, oh, okay, that actually totally makes sense. In fact, I'd actually be surprised because it can be an up-road battle if you're not into awesomeness like that.
I own it. I've got that same edition you do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. You do or don't like it?
I bought it because I hate it.
Oh, sure. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, you just want to give them money because you feel bad for them sometimes. You see a sale and you're like, oh, they could use a couple bucks. I'll take this off their hands. So it was actually made for a budget of $2.3 million and it grossed worldwide $5.7. So it did pretty good considering it had a low budget, but that's not to say necessarily that it had a great reputation in America. It really struggled because it came out pretty shortly after Friday the 13th, I believe. And there was like a bit of a backlash towards violence in film. And I guess the other thing was that John Lennon had just died, and for some reason that meant I wasn't aware of this, but I guess a bunch of films had to like pull it back, and there was a big anti-violence message that was kind of bopping around.
Wow, I don't remember that part.
Yeah, so that was why they had to cut out all these really violent scenes from the film. So it's directed by George Mihalka. He hasn't done a lot else. He got this because he just done a film called Pick Up Summer, and the Canadians were like, "Oh, that's real good. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do a film for us, eh?" And so that's how I got that.
Was that a Minnesotan Canadian?
It's pretty much the same thing, and you know it.
Super offensive. But continue.
Hey, we're from Seattle. We kind of have a hint of it anyway. The writer, we have 2 writers on here. Neither of them are super well known. John Beard, he did only 6 films. One of them was Happy Birthday to Me, and he did the 2009 My Bloody Valentine. So there you go. The other guy did a bunch of Archie Bunker. Oh, he did Airwolf. So that's exciting. We have some pretty cool actors in here. It's interesting because there's a lot of them, but pretty much none of them went on to do much. They're really small bit roles of it's a really low budget film. So I think they just gathered up local talent, and not a lot of these people went on to do too much. But the 3 main characters that we have, Axel, who's the jerk boyfriend, is played by Neil Affleck. So I had to look him up because I was like, are you related to the great Affleck clan? He does not seem to be, but he did have a bit part in Scanners. So that's good. He went on to do a lot of mostly bit parts. And he, more importantly, was an animator and did Rocko's Modern Life, The Critic, Rugrats, and The Simpsons.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez. Canadian actor / animator. That's a full career. TJ, who's the guy who returns to town, the loner, is played by Paul Kelman, who only did 10 things, and he's so unknown that he doesn't even have an IMDb photo. And Sarah, who's the girl that they're fighting over, played by Lori Hollier, and she actually has 93 credits. She's done a ton of stuff. She's more recently been in a lot of Christmas movies, like a lot of those low budget ones, but she had 2 separate roles in the Friday the 13th TV series, which was interesting. But she actually recently played Betty Ford in the Mrs. America that came out on Amazon. So the story, this is my favorite part. So My Bloody Valentine, the first time I saw this, I was really expecting it to be just this crazy blood fest of a film. But really, you have 2 stories here. You have Plot A, which is a Canadian melodrama where a kind of young adult, TJ, a loner, returns home to work in the mines in a small Canadian town called Valentine. His pride has been hit hard because he went out into the big time city and he just couldn't make it. So he had to come back with his pockets empty. And when he returns home, he discovers that the girl that he left behind has found a new boyfriend, which is the ill-tempered Axel. There's a lot of great small-town moments in this particular version of the film. You've got a whole town getting ready to celebrate Valentine's Day with their annual Valentine's Day dance. I believe they've been doing it for like 100 years, and it's old, good tradition. You have a lot of wacky characters, a lot of guys who get together and drink beers and have a good time in the bar. It is like the quaintest, cutest, like Canadian drama of all time. I love that part of this movie. That's, I think, what makes this. The second half, of course, is that at one point, 10 years before, during this Valentine's Day dance, 6-7 miners were left below in the mines while their supervisors took off to go to the party. And there was an accident. All but one of them died. And the last one that survived was trapped for several days and kind of had to make his way out. There's an insinuation that he had to eat his fellow miners. And he went crazy and then went on a killing spree and killed a bunch of townsfolk who had gone to the dance or were directly responsible for the miners being trapped down there. He has come back 10 years later to venge further, I guess. He took a little vacay, and now he's ready to reattend and pick up where he left off. because they're having a Valentine's Day dance, he is ready to wreak havoc on it. And boy, does he. There are some amazing deaths in this movie. And I'm not going to tell you all of them, but I do need to tell you a few because I think it's very important just to get this across. One of the probably the third death, you see an axe go through a guy's head and pop out his eyeball, and then the dude is carried via the axe in his head across like a parking lot. That's beautiful. There is a death where there is a shower involved, and the entire shower head comes through the back of a girl's head, and it's sticking out of her mouth, and the shower is on.
Wow.
So good. They just go there. They just set it. They're like, you know what? We're going to just make it happen. And man, do they. Like, there's every scene, every single murder scene is pretty fantastic. There isn't a single one that I was disappointed by. There's a great one in a laundromat that's definitely my favorite. It's an early one, but you have to see it. You have to see it to believe it. It's an elderly woman. Oh my, I can't even do it justice. It's just so good, you guys. If you've ever needed to see a corpse in a dryer, oh my God, this is the film for you. So, and on top of that, because it's this quaint little Canadian piece, you get these great quotes. Like there's this guy who's trying to hit on a girl and does this cheesy pickup line in a bar, and she's like, suck it in and zip it up. It's just like weird little things like that. There's a older man talking to another guy, and he's like, if there's one thing I like better than Christmas candy, it's Valentine's Day candy. What? That's so good. That's a moment we can all identify with. Kelly is not believing me. The face he's giving me is just such annoyance.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around suck it in and zip it up.
Yes, me as well. I was like, what?
I mean,
that is my morning routine. It's okay, still fitting into those same jeans from high school.
Maybe in Canada it just works a little differently. You know, just how the water like flows backwards in parts of the world. Just saying, we don't know. The mysteries of life. There's a dude and a girl making out during they're not supposed to have a Valentine's Day party. He says, she says, oh, know what we need? And he goes, oh, and pulls out a condom, and she laughs, and she says, no, a couple of beers. He goes, back in a flash. And she's like, hey, bye. And like waves bye. And then he turns, he's like, bye. And I was like, no one ever says goodbye to each other in films. This is so heartwarming.
Well, that's like death metal zombies. It's a quality level they're talking about. They had this phone song with brother. Everybody's okay. Bye. Talk to you later. Bye. Bye on the phone.
You know what?
These films are simpatico.
Every once in a while, you know, you just need to see something a little different. You need to see them breaking that wall, that barrier that we have presented by making these stories and convincing our audiences they have to go in one way. They don't. You can say goodbye to each other in movies. I am sure of it. And of course, I do need to say that with each death, there often is a little card left behind with a little Valentine rhyme by the murderer, such as, from the heart comes a warning of bloody good cheer. Remember what happened as the 14th draws near. And roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, so are you.
Oh, no.
And then, of course, happened once, happened twice. Cancel the dance or it'll happen thrice.
Oh, rhyming twice with thrice is a little weak, but I get it.
You know what? They went there. That's all I care about. They had the audacity to do it in the first place. So here are the things I like about this movie. Obviously, I like it. It's clear. I just talked about how there was an amazing dryer death. All the deaths are great. There's fun characters. Like, all of them have these really distinct personalities. You just get a feel for them just by looking at them. They're always doing stuff in the background. Everybody has a life and everybody has a feeling to them. So whenever you're in kind of a scene like a party or a dance or a bar, everybody's just got this great personality that they're showcasing in the background. So some really great improv back there. There's amazing outerwear. The Canadians know how to dress. They have great toques. They have great scarves. They have amazing flannel woolen coats that I was very jealous of. Oh my God, the clothes are great. The realism behind the characters are awesome. I mean, like, just the plot is really, I don't know, it felt really good. A guy has to come home, and it's not like, oh, I'm home now, I gotta sleep on my parents' floor and try to apply to college or figure myself out. No, he's now poor and has to work at the mine he tried to escape. Like, that's a real, I mean, every youthful person in this film, every single guy works in the mines. And I think that, like, really speaks to, like, an honest approach to this film. It's super Canadian, everything about this, the accents, the activities, the mannerisms, again, the clothing, super great. But it just gives it this sheen of otherness that a lot of other slashers from the 80s don't have. And yeah, like I said, they just go all the way. Also, the slutty girl has the best hat scarf combo. It matches and it's purple, and I loved it.
What makes her slutty?
Oh, she keeps trying to sleep with different guys.
Oh.
Yeah. But she's like the friend of the girl who the girl's got to decide between the two guys. So anyway, she pops up and keeps trying to sleep with people in the background.
I almost feel like this is the anti-Lake Placid for you.
No
where
kidding.
It's really not that good of a movie, but you just fucking love it.
There's just something so sweet about it. I think because where Lake Placid felt like everything had a bad spirit behind it. Like, guys were like trying to hit on chicks and girls were accusing them of raping them when they had, like, there was a lot in Lake Placid that I really felt was detestable. And on the opposite side, underneath these horrible murders, it's just a cute small town where people are just trying to have a good life, you know? And there's just something about that just warms me so much. So the things that I don't like it about as much, though, they killed Horace. I'm not happy about that. You guys will have to figure that out for yourselves when you watch it. But I was very upset about that particular thing.
I'm going to guess a dog based on the level of uncomfortableness.
You would be wrong.
Oh.
Cat?
He's a heavy, fun guy with a really good handlebar mustache.
Oh, it is an actual person. Yeah. This surprises me coming from you.
I know, but I really wanted him to live. I was very upset when it happened. People freak out in very annoying ways. Not a ton, but a couple of the characters really overreact to some of the deaths. There's a girl named Peggy that I want to fucking kick in the head, and I'm like, just die. Just die. I'm so tired of you whining about how, like, unhappy you are right now. Like, just freaking stop it and, like, just do the thing you got to do to escape right now and stop crying while going up a ladder.
Let's rewind just a second. Yes. They overreacted to the deaths.
Yes.
This murderer among them, they overreacted to this.
Okay, let's say you're in a situation where you're trapped like 900 feet or whatever below Earth, and you got to find a way to escape, and there's a serial killer hot on your heels, and you can, like, see him down the corridor as he's, like, breaking the lights, walking towards you, right? And somebody dies near you. Do you stop and go, I don't care anymore, I'm just gonna sit here and sob? Or do you get up and keep running? Like, it's fine to cry a little, but it's like 8 scenes of her continuing to cry. It kept going. Yeah, it's fine. The once I'll put up with. The twice, all right.
What about the thrice?
Nope.
Okay.
The thrice is where, no good. And there's a couple of the characters felt a little thin. The mayor, the sheriff, the bartender all just felt a little, they were the thinnest of them, but they were the adults, so no one cared about them.
Wah, 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 wah.
And just as I finish up here, just a couple of small, really fun bits of trivia. So the shooting location was in the Sydney mines in Nova Scotia. They chose it specifically because of its rustic atmosphere and appearance. The locals found out that the movie was going to be shot there, and they spent $50,000 or Canadian dollars cleaning it up and painting it so it would be ready for the film. The filmmakers were like, no, and had to spend $30,000 making it look worse again.
Oh, no.
I thought that was just such a small town life.
Oh, man.
It was shot in an authentic mine, so it was a disused mine. It was on its way to becoming a museum, so they could only light it in certain ways, and if they used too much lighting, the methane gas might explode, so they had to be very careful about it.
No smoking.
Yeah. It was so deep, it took over an hour to transport cast and crew down to location. It was 2,700 feet down.
Oh, Shit.
Yup. And the idea came from the producers Andre Link and John Dunning when they were trying to find a holiday which they could base a slasher around. And they're like, Valentine's Day, don't think anyone's going to copy us. And then they called it The Secret, just in case anybody might. So nobody knew the identity of who the actual main serial killer was. Anybody on set, nobody knew until it happened in the scene. So that was also kind of cool. I think it lends a nice little authenticity. So that was my film. I totally recommend it. I definitely think the uncut version is the way to go. I think that if you lose those amazing deaths, you lose a lot of what's worth watching in this film. And yeah, that was me. That was mine.
So I heard an interview with the director of this. This is probably 5 or 10 years ago now, and he was talking about this film and the fact that they had lost all of those scenes.
Yes.
And he was decrying the fact, Jesus Christ, we had a really cool movie and they completely neutered us, and I didn't realize it was for the death of John Lennon, which is still kind of weird to wrap my head around. But so they found these scenes somehow?
So I also listened to a couple of different interviews with him because I was trying to work out what happened as well. And one of the filmmakers, I think it was one of the producers, had some of the negatives and they just didn't know where they were for a long time. But they were like locked in like a place somewhere, probably in their house or like in a warehouse or something. And so they found them and they had all this raw material. It just needed to be processed essentially and like be stuck in. So yeah, they had all the deaths laying around and they all get put back in for this film and they look great. I can see why that guy was really upset. It's only 3 minutes worth of content. I mean, I think they cut 5 minutes to make it get the rating that they needed, but it's only really 3 minutes of deaths. But those 3 minutes are incredible work, incredible special effects work.
Wow, I'm going to have to search this one out.
Yeah.
3 minutes is a good amount of screen time, if you
It
really
feels
think
like
about it. Yeah, that's what you love about like Scream Factory and these companies finding this stuff.
This is my favorite thing. I realized that I was going through my Scream Factory collection. Much like you, I have a number of films. Almost all of them are John Carpenter movies.
Yeah, I've got a lot of those too.
Often multiple times because I had to get the steel book. But like, I just love that they like went back. They find everything they can. They really clean it up. There's just they're doing such great work.
I love it. Well, all right, you guys. I guess it's my turn.
I would hope so.
I'm so excited. I want to know.
I chose a documentary from 1986 called Cobra.
Society is breeding a new kind of criminal. It's also breeding a new kind of cop.
All along you knew it wasn't right. You were spending time losing sight. Playing games that isn't fair. And your partner's left standing there. At least you know you dream alone. Sometimes still your heart's made of stone. As you try to move your adjustment right, but you feel it, you still try to fight. But you got to feel the heat, feel the heat. As you feel the time is turning, then your mind just starts to feel the heat, feel the heat. As you feel the time is turning, then your mind just starts to feel the heat.
This is where the law stops, and I start. Stallone is a cop called Cobra, the strong arm of the law.
Yes. Yes. Cobra.
The documentary about Sylvester Stallone. What?
Dude, what Sylvester Stallone do?
Cobra had a budget of $25 million.
Whoa.
And a worldwide box office of $160 million.
Because it was that freaking good.
The critics for Rotten Tomato have it at 14%.
They're wrong. They're all wrong.
But the audience has it at 42%, and they're completely right. It was directed by Strange Aeons radio stalwart George P. Cosmatos, who I have talked about his film of unknown origin on one of our episodes. I have talked about The Cassandra Crossing on one of our episodes. He also did Tombstone and Rambo, and he is the father of Panos Cosmatos, who just directed Color Out of Space.
Oh.
What?
Is that his actual name?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It was written by, okay, so this is interesting. It was written by Paula Gosling and Sylvester Stallone. So Paula Gosling wrote the book Fair Game that this is based on.
Okay.
Stallone wrote the script, and we can get into a little bit of that a little bit later. It stars Sylvester Stallone.
No.
You might know him from Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Right. He did the movie Dolly Parton.
Rhinestone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He also directed Staying Alive.
Oh, sure. Everyone knows.
It also stars Bridget Nielsen, who was in Rocky IV, Red Sonja, and she was Stallone's wife at the time. Or actual
She is
girlfriend.
such a bombshell. She's so beautiful.
Right. You might know her as Flavor Flav's girlfriend in Flavor of Love.
I did not know that.
It also stars a bunch of character actors that you know from a million things. I'm just going to list them off really quickly. David Rash, Andrew Robinson, of course, the father from Hellraiser, Rini Santori, and Brian Thompson, who you might not know this name, but if I tell you that he's the helicopter pilot from Miracle Mile, you're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Or he is the first bad guy in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He absolutely is, yeah. Okay. This movie.
I'm ready. Do I need a seatbelt? I feel like I should seatbelt myself in.
Yeah, probably.
This is also a Christmas movie, let me just tell you.
Sure.
Takes place over Christmas. So Stallone plays Lieutenant Marion Cobretti, nicknamed Cobra, because why wouldn't he be?
No reason at all.
Right. He's a cop who will break any rule to get a criminal. And
What a crazy new idea.
Yeah. When we meet him, he's dealing with a killer cult that is apparently dragging people out of their cars or homes and killing them in horrible ways. The first scene takes place in a supermarket where one of these cult members just busts in with a gun and starts shooting the place up. But oddly enough, he doesn't start shooting the people up. He's just blowing the shit out of everything, and then he takes them all hostage. This is when we get to meet Cobra, because the boss says to, the place is surrounded with cops, and the chief turns to one of the cops. He's like, call him. So here comes Stallone. He's driving in a very sensible 1950 Mercury that's chopped and lowered because, he's a cop. And he shows up with his aviator sunglasses and his match in his mouth, and he goes in the back room and he starts taunting this guy who's got all these people hostage. I feel like that's probably the best way to negotiate in a hostage situation.
I don't know why you wouldn't do that, frankly.
At one point, he tells the gunman, "You're a disease, right, and I'm the cure."
So good.
From there, he goes on to blow the shit out of that guy and everybody he comes across in this movie. At one point, he is telling the police chief that he's sure that this serial killer that they're all after is maybe more than one killer. They say, "You're a fucking idiot, Cobra. Why are you even here? Your practices are too violent. You get everybody killed, blah, blah, blah." Now, later on, when it becomes clear to everyone that there's more than one killer, do you think anybody says, "Hey, Cobra was right. Why do we always give him so much shit?" Nobody does that. So pretty soon, Bridget has been targeted by this cult, and for whatever reason, maybe because she's smoking hot, they want to kill the shit out of her.
Yeah, that never made sense to me, but that's okay. It's fine. We don't need to worry about it.
And Cobra then is assigned as her protector. It makes no real sense. Why? Except that you kind of get the feeling that he's willing to just use her for bait to get to the killer. Sure. Because, quite honestly, he shouldn't be involved in anything like this. He's on something called the Zombie Squad, which they don't really explain, but there is a throwaway line that this is where kind of the dregs of the police department go that are too violent and everything like that. And I'm like, well, that would get us here right now and all the shit we're doing.
There you go. Don't fire him. Don't get rid of him.
Yes, if this is just acceptable, I'm starting to see a through line to 2020.
Does that mean I should go to like a protest with a Thanks Cobra sign?
They go to a safe house, and they are quickly set upon by this entire group of cultists. And these guys aren't wearing robes or anything like that, but they are heavily armed with knives and blades and nunchucks. A few of them have guns and everything. They like to smash their swords together and make these clashing sounds while they're coming, which, is a dead giveaway if you're trying to sneak up on somebody. But it becomes clear that, wait a second, this is a safe house. How do these guys know we're here? It's because they have a mole in the police department.
No!
Wow, the deep original plot points of this film are astounding.
Wait until I get into the themes.
You found some?
Carnage ensues, car chases, battles in dimly lit steel mills that are also seem to have weird meat hooks and stuff hanging in them. Like, what do you hook on this in your steel mill? I have no idea, except for killers, which is what Stallone does.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You need one perfectly placed just in case, should you need to take a human body and put it on so it stops trying to hurt you.
Right.
There you go.
This movie, let's see, it made its budget back 6 times. So I'm going to guess most people have seen this, even if they don't much care for it. I absolutely love this movie. It makes no real sense. The themes are good versus evil.
Oh.
Except it's very blurry because Stallone is not exactly good.
Not good.
At several points, he's telling his partner to stop eating the junk food and start eating a little healthier because his partner's always eating donuts and stuff like that. But this is after we've seen Stallone cut himself pizza with scissors at his apartment.
I love this so much. I was like, if you don't mention this scene.
Well, this is how I learned how to eat pizza.
Yeah, kitchen shears.
Right.
Zag it around with some kitchen shears.
Right. I'm not going to give away the ending. But Stallone wins.
Yeah. There's no giveaways.
Right. I do have some trivia and some stuff that I loved about this. First, I'm going to say
everything.
First, I'm going to say it's based on the book Fair Game by Paula Gosling. In 1995, William Baldwin and Cindy Crawford starred in an adaptation of Fair Game called Fair Game, which is also nothing like this book.
No, really?
No, it's just poor Paula. Maybe one more try for somebody to actually adapt her book. Everybody knows that Stallone was originally hired to play Axel Foley in the movie Beverly Hills Cop. And that he started tooling with the screenplay and changed it from a kind of humorous drama to a very dark and disturbing story. And when they finally let him go, he agreed to leave as long as he could take all his ideas with him, which they were like, yeah, no problem, Sly. And he took them and put them into this movie. So this is why poor Paula got the short end of the stick on this adaptation, because it's mostly Stallone's story. There is a very rare work print circulating among fans, 30 to 40 minutes longer, with all of the X-rated material that was cut. Now, if you watch this movie, there's like surprisingly little gore. There's nothing really that's gory in this. Apparently, there is 30 to 40 minutes of gore in this that got them an X rating.
Okay, now we just praised Scream Factory just 10 minutes ago. What is this? Scream Factory, come on.
I have doing a little research because I was like, this has got to be on YouTube or something like that. All I could find was stuff that says it's barely watchable. So it's a work print. So it's pretty shoddy.
It's like a daily.
Yeah. When Stallone was on set, he was the acting director, literally planning the shots.
Oh, weird.
Cosmatos just stayed out of his way. When he wasn't on set, Cosmatos was reputedly a tyrannical director, and the cast and crew hated him.
Yep. I've seen that documentary.
Oh, okay. At one point, Stallone complained to the cinematographer that they were falling behind, and the cinematographer responded, "If you get your hands off Bridget's ass and stop showing off for your bodyguards, we wouldn't have problems with time."
Beautiful.
Right? Stallone cleaned up his act.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Things I loved, the 1950 Merc he drives.
Yeah.
That's actually, or it was, Stallone's car at the time. He owned that car. The over-the-top amount of product placement.
Oh. I feel like I somehow missed this.
I don't know how you could have. In the opening scene in the supermarket, while he's hiding behind a gigantic Pepsi machine, he pops open a Coors beer and takes a drink while he's scoping the situation with the gunman.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
On the roof of his building, it's not even, well, if you remember, he's got kind of a situation like mine where the windows look right out on the roof and everything. Mm-hmm. But on his roof is a gigantic Pepsi billboard lit up, and he has a huge fight with one of the guys in front of the Pepsi billboard.
I don't know how I missed this.
I don't know how you missed it either. There's also a Toys R Us commercial that plays in full on the TV that he watches before the news starts.
He's just that kind of guy.
Yeah, there's Miller High Life, Coke, and various other things sprinkled throughout.
Got Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was interesting. That scene, him cutting the pizza
weird.
with his scissors while he cleans his gun and watches the news on the killer.
Fun fact, long before I'd seen the actual film for Cobra, because of my love of pizza, people kept sending me that one scene, and that was all I'd seen of this movie. And I was like, what am I looking at? This is insane. What is happening?
I will say this. This is peak Stallone in his, muscular phase. And he was a really handsome guy. I'm trying to figure out how many apple boxes they had to have him on to stand next to Bridget in most of the scenes, because she is like 6'1" or something like that,
tall.
and he is 4'3".
Yeah, she was hired to stand next to Dolph Lundgren a lot more than she was to stand next to Stallone.
Right. Yeah, I love this movie. I was so happy to see that this was one of the things that Scream Factory was offering, because when else am I going to be able to choose this movie to talk about?
Yeah, that's true. Fair point.
It is kind of a horror film with all the stuff, and with the X-rated gore and everything, I think it would have been, probably very cool.
Hey, you could have even talked about this for Christmas. I don't know why you think you were cornered on this one.
That's true.
I would never have said no to you for Cobra. Any basements, Cobra.
I'm sure there's a basement in his apartment building.
Yeah, he did have pizza.
Exactly. I'm sure that where they were doing their clanking like metal objects exercise thing, that was probably in a basement somewhere.
You know what? I can't believe I didn't do this for pizza. I chose that shitty Stephen King adaptation, and this would have been way better.
Yeah.
Poor Rose Red.
Yeah, I'm over it. I got to talk about it here, and I'm happy. I just love this movie. The poster has the tagline of "Crime is a disease, and he's the cure," and it's got him holding a gun with a laser coming out of it, but you can see the laser even against the red background of the poster, and you're kind of like, what is going on with this laser?
Powerful, man.
No kidding.
Everything about it. Everything. It's just what it is.
But it did start that whole thing of the poster just being the headshot of the lead actor,
Yeah, that's true.
There wasn't really anything like that before this. So
nice.
Yeah, Cobra.
Good pick.
Thank you. And thank you, Eric, for choosing this. What a cool topic. And when it comes around to mine, I might have something to riff off of this.
Nice.
But it's not mine, Max.
You'll have to wait.
Right.
Yeah, it's my turn. So
Yes. Did you forget? You're just trying to think of something real fast?
No, I remembered.
Okay.
So we're going to go with cursed objects. And I'm just going to straight up say that
I'm doing the fog.
I'm doing the fog.
Shit.
And the reason I'm choosing cursed objects is so I can do the fog. And I was going to choose the topic of foggy films, but I got vetoed by somebody. And so it's
Was it
fine.
somebody awesome or was it Eric?
I don't want to dish in front of our viewers, okay? It's fine. There are no movies with fog in it. I get it. It's fine. So
Look, I felt like if we go down this problematic road, the next thing you do is I want you guys to pick a horror movie that takes place in the dark at some point.
oh, you thought it was too easy.
I thought it was way too easy.
Oh, I thought you thought it was impossible.
Yeah, that was what I got out of it too.
No, I thought it sets a poor precedent going forward.
All right. It's fine. Cursed objects, we're fine. So I hope you guys figure out something good. And yeah, I'm excited for next week.
I am
Nice.
too.
Nice.
All right. Hey, guys, as always, we thank you so much.
Yeah.
I loved hearing that we had another 5-star movie challenge. I do think, you know what, we need to reach out to Ron, and he does music, and maybe he'll make us a little 5-star challenge song that we can drop in there.
Awesome.
That'd be super, super cool.
Yeah.
Many thanks to Danny Williford, who is always beating the drum so loudly for us. Thank you so much, brother. All of the other people who are listening and chiming in on the Facebook page, Twitter, and all that stuff, we really, really appreciate it. We wouldn't even bother to do this if it weren't for the 4 or 5 of you that listen.
That's right. As long as there's at least more of you than there are of us, we'll be okay.
At least they're all talented and like drawing us art and stuff. That's really neat.
It is pretty cool.
It is cool.
It is pretty cool. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We will be back in 1 short week with Cursed Objects.
See ya.
Bye.
Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Margaret. Our theme music is Strange Aeons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Aeons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine